Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, podcast Pete and lifestyle coach. Freedom. And I'm going to share with you the power of journaling, how it has healed my brain and it can heal yours because there's a lot of commotion going on, a lot of distractions. If you feel distracted and you want to get clarity, I'm going to spend some time with you today to show you the science from a doctor that's sharing this so you can see the power of journaling and the freedom that's possible. I'm going to give you a free course and an offer. Hang with me. It'll be worth it. Okay, let's get going. All right. First, I want to make sure we are real clear about freedom. It's possible. Does it take work? Does it take having the right strategy? Does it take being a part of the right community? Yes, and yes. Because if I make this a little bigger, which I will, nope, I won't. There we go. There it is. We're going to help you with time freedom, wealth, location, creative freedom, health freedom, very, very important, and travel freedom. Travel the world, work from any location, have the time freedom to pursue the things that matter, the big priorities in your life, the big rocks. When you do that, magical things can happen. Your wealth can get better and your creativity, leaning into being creative. Because when we move from consumption to creative, we move to create our life. So you can scan this QR code at any time and join our free community. Freedom Matters. It's a freedom school community where we help you work on the 6 freedoms, help you invest and learn about personal development because your business will grow, but it won't grow beyond how you grow. So investing in yourself, growing, personal development to learn the skills you need to grow your business. Okay, let's get going. Let me see. Hold on here. Do I have it? Yeah. Let me share my screen. Hold on here. Do it right here. Okay. Hold on here. I think I'll get to it in a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Share. There we go. Okay. Let me make sure everything is fine. There we go. Good. Okay. Let me share with you some science, the science of brain health. Now, I had a stroke 4 years ago, almost 4. Next month, it'll be 4 years. I had to repair the left side of my brain. So I had to rebuild the neurons, the paths, the neuros that connect everything. So when you lose something, you got to build it back when it comes to the brain. So neuroarchitecture, the science of journaling for brain health, how to turn chaos into clarity using the methods of Dr. Amar Hull. We'll put in the show notes her information, her video, because this was generated by Notebook LM. So we always use HI, you and me, and AI, which is artificial intelligence. So human intelligence and artificial together. Together we're better. We do 20%, let the heavy lifting, the details, all the monotonous over things like creating this presentation, let an AI do it. But you have to be the driving creative force. So the diagnosis, the unfocused mind, that was me. Before stroke, I have ADD and dyslexia. So it wasn't a normal brain, but plenty of people have ADD. They just know how to channel it. I had a guest on my podcast yesterday, a wonderful guest, Sebastian. You crushed it in how he's using his superpower, ADHD, to love, to pour into people, to help people, channel it, create those borders, create that focus, that clarity. That's possible if you know and you have a strategy and in your right community. Be in community. Together we're better. Together we're better. All working on freedoms. And if we work on it together, we're going to be better. Okay, the modern mind often feels full but unfocused. We spend hours scrolling, drifting between windows, leaving messages, handwriting, and thoughts half formed. Key insight. The brain treats emotional suppression or fragmentation as unfinished work, resulting in constant hum of that cognitive anxiety. Journaling is a neurological repair. Journaling is a neurological repair. Effective labeling synchronize the feeling brain with the thinking brain. So you have the feeling brain with the thinking brain, put them together. And when you look at the brain, the prefrontal cortex, that's the planning and the reasoning. That, I don't know which part of mine, but part of that was affected. But the amygdala, let's just say, you know what it is. Being dyslexic, pronouncing words is not my strong suit. But that's part of the reaction and emotional part of the brain. We bridge them together. When you write, these regions communicate. This diagnosis gives shape to the chaos, allowing the brain to process unresolved data. Why the hand must move. I mean, I never before my stroke did much of journaling. They were sporadic, maybe one journal, just pieces of it. And I'd always heard, do a gratitude journal. Well, you can't just do it one time. It has to create a habit. Now I have 17. I have this one. I have one on my phone. I have this big one, Brendan Bouchard's planner. I don't bring it everywhere, but it stays in I plan the day with it. Then I write main things in my growth day journal, in my tasks of what I'm focusing on. And I'm always trying to focus on the big rocks. But journaling has set me free. Journaling has been the best thing I ever did from a standpoint of a habit. Getting back in shape was a good habit too. The science, 2023 science in Frontiers of Psychology showed that handwriting activity significantly more brain area than typing. We can type 10 times faster, but when we put the pen to the paper, it does something to rewire your brain that allows it to process, think, see, and you're getting those thoughts out. And we'll talk about 3 different types. But the idea, my default now, I journal every single day, several times during the day. Never did it before. And then I saw the power of it. So when I wake up, I drink, I think, I start to journal, I read, I plan, and I implement. That journaling, I'm writing about the podcast from yesterday, what I learned, who I met, things that I gained that I want to process it on paper. Then it's maybe what I'm looking forward to that day, maybe some ideas that I'm trying to flush out. Because we have between 12 and 60,000 thoughts that go through our head every day. How are you going to stay clear with that much information just being rattled around? It's like a ping pong ball. All that information is going back and forth. But when you start to write it, you start to get clear. You start to flush out ideas. Your brain just starts to process in a completely different way. And the journaling course I'm going to give you will help you, because the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And the first step is just start writing. You don't need a fancy pen, fancy notebook. Just get something you can write and start the journey. Mechanism, the slight physical resistance, the paper slows the mind down just enough to make sense of itself. So you're slowing down your thinking, your processing. You can't scroll past your own handwriting. We scroll 2.5 hours a day, mainly TikTok videos. We're just dumbing our brain because it's passively consuming other people's lives. Yes, entertainment, but beware. That much scrolling does affect your brain. And if you're not aware of how it's being wired, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to have this much attention span and your brain's going to be like mush. And I don't think you want that. The toolkit, we call it the mental, Dr. Hall, the mental cross training. Just as you train different muscles, you must train different neutral circuits based on your emotional state. Let's repeat that. Just as you train different muscles, you must train different neutral circuits based on your emotional state. So you've got some heavy feelings, and the goal is to release it. So expressive writing allows you to get them out. I just start writing of ideas and I flush them out through my journaling. The feeling numb, the technique gratitude journal. I write down 3 wins that I have every day. 3. I've been doing it for almost 2 years. So it helps you to anchor your wins. You want to anchor your wins. You want to be grateful. And not just that I had a phone call. I had a phone call and discovered some wonderful things about whatever you're talking about. So be able to get deeper into your gratitude, because we talk about slow down to speed up. That's what's happened with me. And we've talked about it on other podcasts, that the Tom Brady effect. When he is picking apart defenses, like we're seeing when he's behind, he's marching down the field, the whole game slows down because he has done so much to develop that strategy. He knows where the weaknesses are in the defense. He knows he has his, they call progressions, where the first may be covered, go to the second, maybe the third, maybe the fourth. And you got to do this in seconds, because if you don't, you're going to have a defensive lineman in your face crushing you. So you got to process fast, but he has that system down. So the game slows, he runs through his progressions, but he's done that over time. He's programmed his brain that it just automatically happens because he's done it so many times. And with yourself, the first time you write might be awkward. But remember, first time you rode a bike, you probably crashed into the mailbox like I did. It works, but get through the awkward stage. We talk about atomic habits in some podcast. James Clear's book, Stacking Those Habits. You got to have the wins to stack up. When I go to the gym, I meditate. I play specific things that I learned. I slow down the speed because I'm meditating. When I'm focusing on just learning on a specific topic, I might go 2x speed because my brain is totally focused on that, whatever I'm listening to. But when I'm doing something like pedaling in the gym, I slow it down a little bit. I close my eyes and I trying to process that, whatever that information is. And it gives me, I'm not looking around the gym, looking at all the TV screens and everybody working out. I close my eyes and it's a form of meditation. So when you meditate, there's different forms. Don't think you got to sit down with your legs crossed and saying crazy words. Although words do matter. Release, release, release. You're releasing those thoughts. You're calming your brain down. And that matters. Information is doubling, and now AI. Woo! If you're a storage machine and you're trying to store information up there, your brain's going to just absolutely won't serve you like it's possible. But I get things out. I get things out. I have techniques like the journaling app on the iPhone. I journal in there by speaking it. And then if I need to go back to remember something, I know the day or I search it, but I can find it quickly. So my brain knows I've got a system for remembering things. I don't want to remember it up here. I want to be able to release it. So when I'm writing it out, what I learned, I sometimes go back and read it, but a lot of times it's just getting the thoughts, out. But I do go back. I highlight things, try to do some different arrows. Make it your own, but start. Focus confusion, reflective reframing. A lot of that is done the morning as I'm reflecting the day before, or in the evening. And I haven't done that as much as I do in the morning. Reflect on what I learned. I will do it sometimes. So I'm basically, what did I learn? And I'm putting it on paper. So my dreams are like crystal clear, and they never were, because I think I had so much going on up there. With the ADH brain, we call it the active brain. You've got to be able, it's okay to have that creativity, but allow it to critical think. Allow it to process without storing information. Okay. Technique number 1, expressive writing. Let's go a little deeper in that. It allows you to feel without drowning in the feeling. It is the act of emptying the vessel. That's Dr. Hall's quote. You know, when you fill up a water cup, if you don't empty some out, you can't get more water in. So think of your brain as you got to empty it out to be able to process new things. If you are storing stuff up there, you're not using the brain to its full potential. You may be using a small percentage. And we've always heard we use very little percentages of our brain. And it's probably caused by not having a system like journaling, not expressing yourself, getting your information out. Here's the science developed by James Pennebaker. This practice quiets the mid-singular cortex, which fires under emotional pressure and activates the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, which requires inhibition. So you're basically using more of that cortex. A little bit more complicated than I can, but the outcome is cognitive controls increase. The body feels physically lighter. Empty it out when you're journaling so you can take in and think. Okay. How to write expressively. Just take, this is a suggestion. Take 15 to 20 minutes, a lingering loss, a disappointment, or trauma. Prompt it, and do not edit. Do not check your grammar. Do not write for an audience. Write until you run out of words. You're writing for yourself. That's where the power is. Our perfectionists out there, doesn't have to be perfect. Progress over perfection. But whatever you can prompt. I have an idea. I had an issue here. Prompt it and write about it. You may cry or feel tired. This is the brain stopping its effort to contain the emotion. So the more we can express ourselves, the more emotional intelligence is possible. The technique number 2, the gratitude journaling. Not forcing positivity, but a safety anchor. Feeling secure, feeling security, like right, that you enjoyed a meal, a message, or the rain. Just anything you can show gratitude for helps your brain in that exercise. The science activating the ventral I can't even pronounce that one. Medial prefrontal cortex regions that regulate the mood and the motivation. It teaches the brain to scan for safety rather than threat. So when we have a threat, our brain responds to it, like a tiger coming, attacking us. There's different things that the brain is doing that if you know how to have the wind behind your sail, you know how to do the activities to get the most out of your brain activity. Your neurons are shaping your brain by the activities, then the gratitude journaling is going to help in this area. The art of some specificity, specificity. General gratitude is weak. Specific gratitude creates biological change. When you say, I'm grateful for a friend, let's go a little bit deeper. I'm grateful for the way my friend listened when I was quiet. Listened when I was quiet. See the difference between the two? It goes deeper, and the deeper you go in your thinking, in your gratitude, the better. Write down 2 or 3 things. Focus on details. The details anchors the memory and builds new emotional association. Technique number 3. This is what I've always done this over the last 4 years, not always, because I never journaled before my stroke. It wasn't a thing. I had a hang up about dyslexia because I couldn't spell words. And you can see in pronouncing words, it's even challenging. But spelling them, I just flow now. I have better flow than I ever did. I'm not concerned about spelling all the words right. I can always go back if I need it, but it doesn't matter. You're just expressing. Reflective reframing. Stop stepping back to understand rather than detach. Seeing the lesson within the failure. So you fail, write about it. What did I do? How could I do it different? That's that reflective framing. If you consider your failures, then you're framing it doesn't help your brain. But if you frame it as lessons and you can write about it, you're going to gain every single time you're doing something. When we start something, we never know what Jeff Bezos said one time in his shareholder meetings. We barely had 60% of what we needed to move forward. When we wait for 90, 95, 100%, the world is always flowing us by. You get the best information you can, and then you got to just learn. You got to just do it. You got to have progress. Progress over perfection. The science strengthens prefrontal regions responsible for emotional regulation. Turn difficulties into data points. So you're basically reflecting, you're reframing whatever happened, and you can do it through journaling. So the 3-step loop, the facts, what happened, plainly, no judgment, the lesson, What did I reveal about my fears or assumptions? And the action is, how will I do it differently next time? So you use this 3-step loop and it completes that neurological framing when you're rewiring that brain. And my brother said one time, this was about a year ago, man, you're sharper since you had a stroke. Yes, I am. Because I journal, because I think, because I have systems. I allow myself space to think. I wake up, I don't just jump into emails. I very seldom check emails now. People, I sent you an email 3 days ago. My brain is not to the point where that is a priority. I'm rewiring my brain, and that requires me to do what I'm just sharing with you. Write, journal, do it in such a way that helps feed your brain in the right way. Okay, let me see if I got one more. Building a routine. Yes, routine is so important. Like I said, in my morning routine, and I'm working on my evening routine. And let me just share my morning routine. First thing, drink. Got to hydrate that brain because it dehydrates during the night. So hydrate it, think, journal, read, plan, and implement every single day. Same thing over and over and over and over again. Occasionally I forget to put the water out, but then I immediately try to get that water to hydrate the brain. So building that routine, quiet experiment of honesty and adaptation. We all have habits. Some help us, some don't. So if your morning routine is check emails first thing, you have the time vampires who are trying to grab your priorities are going to be coming after you. Create your life, create your journal, create your routine. And when you do that, you're creating your life. And when you create your life, you're leaning into the creative freedom that's possible. Remember, we talked about time, location, creative, health, wealth, and travel. These freedoms are possible in our freedom community. Let me go back out here to you. Okay. So here I want to, it's Saturday. So I want to give you something on Saturday to think about, but I want to give you now a gift. All right. Hold on here. Here we go. Okay. Join our freedom community. Scan the QR code, or you can go to, here we go. You can go to pkane.me/school. Did I say, I get those words mixed up. School, SKOOL. It's free. Be around like-minded people that are working on the freedom. Then when you're ready to invest in yourself and you want to move fast, you want to move a sprint for 30 days at a time, work on a freedom and work on it together, because we take you 20 at a time, a community of people learning and growing on their freedoms. And that's possible. So join our school community, scan the QR code, or go to pkane.me/school. Now, when you do that, there's a gift waiting for you. There's a gift. Oops, I got the wrong one here. Hold on here. I got the wrong one, because inside the community, you're going to get my journaling course and you're going to get my high performance habits mastery course. $400 value. We want to give this gift to you. The gift of journaling will set you free. The gift of high performance habits will give you the gas and the fuel to your rocket. Come join us in our school community. Set yourself free. Work on your freedoms. Then when you're ready to invest in yourself, then you can move over to our Freedom Builder community, where every 30 days, 20 people, we're going to help you together. You're better. And you can join that at moving from the free to the paid because you want to invest in yourself. And when you see what you get, you're going to want to be a part of it. So let me just put one other thing up here. Let me take this down for a second. Journaling for brain health and neurological repair kit. So inside of our school community, you'll find things like this where you can take these images, apply them, learn, grow, rewire that brain, create habits that will help you be free. Time freedom, wealth freedom, health freedom, and the freedom to be creative, along with location and travel. Thank you. I'm Pete Kane. Be bold.